In this episode of FineScale Modeler's New Product Rundown, we take a look at Revell's Ventura Mk.II, Riich Models' Universal Carrier, Trumpeter's HMS Roberts, Meng's Ford F350, and ICM's Polikarpov U-2.
Welcome to FineScale Modeler's New Product Rundown. I'm Aaron Skinner.
And I'm Tim Kidwell. Let's kick off today's show with Revell's 148 scale Ventura Mk.II in RAF service.
Developed by Lockheed from the Lodestar transport, the Ventura initially served with the Royal Air Force as a daylight bomber before being sent to Coastal Command, where it served in anti-shipping and maritime reconnaissance roles.
Now this kit follows on Revell's earlier release from a couple years back of the PV-1 Ventura. The main differences here are a bombardier's position up in the nose and then the provision for a Boulton-Paul dorsal turret.
That's right. Cleanly molded in warm gray plastic, parts feature fine engraved panel lines and good surface detail. FSM reviewer Jim Zeski described the engineering and fit throughout as good when he built the PV-1 version.
The kit includes a detailed cockpit, nose position, wheel wells, bomb bay, and engines.
The fuselage forward of the cockpit is molded in clear plastic for ease of masking and painting. These parts and the new turret look very good.
An especially welcome addition is a set of Eduard pre-cut masks that'll make masking all of the Ventura's glass a snap.
Decals provide markings for two dark green and dark earth camouflage Venturas. One from the RAF's number 454th Squadron, the other from number 287th Squadron, Royal New Zealand Air Force.
This is a well thought out second release from Revell and should keep Commonwealth modelers happy.
Our second kit today comes from Riich Models. It's a 1/35th scale universal carrier.
Now, more than 113,000 of these little AFVs were built between the mid-1930s and 1960. They served throughout World War II and in Korea. And before this kit, the only other 1/35th scale injected molded plastic model of this was Tamiya's.
This is actually Riich Models' second universal carrier. They've released the Mk.I version and this one the Mk.II. The main differences between the two are the provision for a tow hitch on the Mk.II.
This box is small, but so is the vehicle. Inside, it's crammed with medium gray parts. The pre-war design is covered in rivets and bolts, which Riich has molded suitably fine.
There's detail aplenty, starting with a pretty complete looking Ford flathead V8 engine, suspension incorporating springs, drivers and gunners compartments, and crew area.
The tracks are Lincoln length, which should work well given the small size of the individual links. The upper runs incorporate sags characteristic of the full-size carrier. Several
weapons, Enfield rifles, Stan and Thompson submachine guns, and a couple of Brens give the little carrier sting. There's also some stowage and personal gear.
2 frets of photo etch metal provide a lot of detailed bits and bobs, including engine grills, attachment clips and clamps, hooks, controls, and brackets.
Thread and chain round out the details. Riich doesn't short the modeler on marking options.
A small decal sheet and color instructions show 7 British Army carriers in Northwest Europe in late 1944 and early 45.
As essential as this vehicle was to the Allied war effort, it'll make a great addition to collections, either on its own or in a diorama.
Our third kit today comes from Trumpeter. It's the 1/350th scale HMS Roberts.
Roberts was a monitor. Monitors are smaller ships with disproportionately large guns, and were always sort of considered the great-grandfathers of battleships. Until this kit came to us, I didn't know that the British had used specially designed monitors as late as World War II.
Designed for shore bombardment, the Roberts was equipped with a pair of 15-inch guns. It was the hull was shallow draft, which promoted stability and also torpedo protection.
Roberts took part in Allied landings in North Africa, Sicily, Salerno, Normandy, and the Walcheren operations in the Netherlands.
Well done, Aaron. Cleanly molded in light gray plastic, the parts show the kind of engineering available to manufacturers. The hull comes in halves because of the large bulges. The deck is a single part.
A couple of bags contain loose parts with slide molded superstructure sections. All have crisp surface detail, including hatches, portholes, and decking.
The main guns are single parts with hollow muzzles and blast bags. Small parts such as anti-aircraft armament, lights, davits, and masts look terrific and come with minimal attachment points.
3 frets of photo etch metal supply railings, stairs, brackets, ladders, masts, and antennas. A color diagram provides 3 views of the disruptive camouflage applied to the Roberts.
The only decals are a pair of white ensigns for the masts. This is one of those off-the-wall subjects that we never thought we'd see as a plastic model kit.
No, it's just the awesome variety of kits we're getting these days. It's a great time to be a modeler. We don't feature a lot of car models on the NPRD, but Meng's Ford F350 Super Duty Crew Cab Pickup is an exception. Try saying that fast.
Oh, no kidding. Meng has made a name for itself by choosing interesting and esoteric subject matter. This is its first vehicle in 1/24th scale.
Clearly made with Ford's blessing, this kit shows all of the molding and engineering skills that Meng has brought to bear on its aircraft and armor subjects.
Like what we saw last week with the Bradley with the Busk 3 armor, this is a huge box.
It is.
And it has a lot of parts in it. The parts look terrific. There's no flash, minimal mold seams, and the slide molding used for things like the ladder frame, leaf springs, and transmission is outstanding.
The kit is molded in 4 colors: dark blue for the body, black for the chassis and suspension, dark gray for the interior, and silver for the engine.
Distortion-free clear parts provide windows and light lenses. And a chrome-plated sprue features 2 types of wheels, bumpers, running boards, the big radiator grille, and lights.
The comprehensive cabin includes pedals, seats, door panels, a headliner with dome lights, and even grab handles.
Meng supplies optional running boards and the bed extender that can be posed open or stowed. 5 soft vinyl Continental Conti-Track tires provide the truck with sure footing.
Cartograph printed decals provide an instrument cluster for the dashboard, Ford badging for the body, and a bunch of labeling for the engine, including the oil filler and windshield washer reservoir. The only discrepancy I saw was the provision of Triton V10 decals for the body when the engine appears to be the V8 diesel.
Meng also provides adhesive mirrors and a mask for the windshield. This kit is a tour de force for fans of big pickups.
If this episode has a theme, it's kits of subjects I didn't expect we'd see mainstream kits of, and this one fits that bill perfectly. ICM's 1/48 scale Polikarpov U-2 or PO2.
That is a mouthful. Designed in the 1920s, the PO2, then called the U-2, served the Soviet Air Force as a transport, a liaison, a reconnaissance, and ground attack aircraft.
Its success in its nighttime harassment role spurred the Germans to set up similar squadrons, and the aircraft became widely known as Bedcheck Charlie for a similar role by the North Koreans during the Korean conflict.
A simple airplane, the kit sort of reflects that with a low parts count. However, that doesn't mean that it skimps on detail. The fuselage parts have molded detail inside and out.
The 2-place cockpit features instrument panels, seats, and controls.
There's a nicely detailed engine up front. The wings and stabilizers are single-piece moldings with paper-thin trailing edges and beautiful rib texture.
Fine parts like inner plane struts and seat frames look great, but you'll need a razor saw to remove them without damage.
This version comes with skis for the landing gear. It's a biplane, so that means rigging. Fortunately, ICM's instructions include a decent diagram to follow.
Decals provide markings for 2 Soviet PO2s, one in green with white stripes in Finland in 1939, the other in winter whitewash from Russia in 1942.
This is a good-looking kit of an often overlooked warplane. Nice job, ICM. Look for a review of the Universal Carrier in an upcoming issue of FineScale Modeler.
Yeah, and you can see more of these and other new products in the July issue, on sale June 3rd.
Thanks for visiting FineScale.com. I'm Tim Kidwell.
And I'm Aaron Skinner. We'll see you next time.
You bet. It's the 135th scale.
135th scale. Boy, that is a
Damn
big...
you!
Oh! You're going to need
Try
an
that
addition
again.
to your house for this one.